Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so that potential buyers can learn more about the business and the seller to help them make an informed buying decision. If you would like to learn more about this business, including details like what type of business it is, how much revenue and profit it makes, and all of the assets included with the business, simply visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business's listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and in the description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. So without further ado, let's get into this interview. First up, let's learn a little bit about you. Can you tell us about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, so my first experience with online businesses was to help launch a Kickstarter while I was studying in Austria. And actually, we became the most funded campaign in Austria at the time ever, which was pretty cool. But that showed me that you can make money online. So I started a few e-commerce stores that did quite well pretty quickly. And then the pandemic hit in 2020. And of course, supply chain for physical products really became an issue. So this kind of made me want to offer a digital product and something where I wasn't relying on supply chain in case this ever happened again. And that's when I stumbled on Kindle publishing. And after some research, I really loved the business model, particularly romance publishing, which was pretty obvious to me that it was the best way forward because romance readers, they just fly through books, sometimes reading like 6 to 7 books per week. Yeah, you get a lot of benefits from your pen name's brand equity and, of course, repeat readers, which I didn't think you got as much from nonfiction. Of course, I didn't know much about the romance niche. So in the beginning, it took me a little bit to figure it out, to be honest. But by the 5th series or the 5th short series that I launched, I actually reached the Amazon top 100, which was pretty neat, to be honest. And that's when things really started clicking and I started understanding what my readers want, improving processes, and things just kept improving from there. Now just the brand equity or like the pen name's brand just does a lot of the heavy lifting for me, which is really cool. So it makes it a lot easier and more consistent to maintain. Also, having a large back catalog for new readers to go through really helps. So yeah, overall, I'm really glad I went with romance. And I think Kindle publishing is a fantastic business model that offers probably a lot more passive opportunities than most online businesses.
Why are you selling the business now instead of keeping it and growing it further?
It really comes down to time and priorities for me. One of my e-commerce stores has really taken off and requires nearly all my attention now. Plus, my wife and I are building a cabin and planning on starting a family within the next year. It's just a good time to let it go and have someone else grow it.
Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business to maintain it?
I typically spend 3 to 5 hours per week on this business. Almost all of it's just checking in and managing freelancers, with the exception of actually uploading the books to my KDP account, which I do personally just because I don't want to give my login to anyone else. And then monitoring the Facebook ads once a week, which is pretty simple. And then there are other tasks that come up, but I found batching them saves me a ton of time. For example, if I want to do market research for a new series idea, I'll spend 2 to 3 hours sitting down and generate like 10 to 15 ideas in one sitting that will really get me through the rest of the year. And the workload for me is not very demanding. And thankfully, I've found good freelancers, which helps a lot with that.
So if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways you would try to grow it?
This is an exciting question. And actually, I have a lot of ideas and things I would do if I were focusing on this full time. The first few really easy wins would be to translate the books to other languages. I'd start with the best performing series, probably the ones that are doing or have over 800 reviews or so. And I would target the German, probably Spanish and Italian markets first, because I know a lot of people have big success with those. I'd also launch the series on Audible because I haven't done anything with Audible or ACX, and I think that's a big missed opportunity. I just haven't had the time to spend on it. Both of these ideas wouldn't really require a lot of work. You're just essentially repurposing existing content that has been proven to be profitable and creating a new sales channel for them. Another big one would be to successfully run Amazon ads. I have no idea how to run Amazon ads. And so someone who does or is willing to spend the time to learn them, I think could increase revenue really quickly because I know authors in our genre use Amazon ads as their primary source of traffic and they're doing really big numbers. So adding that traffic source to our ecosystem could definitely increase revenue quite quickly. I think getting an organic strategy on TikTok or Instagram Reels could prove to have huge upside because you'd get a lot of free readers and you're just one viral video away from reaching an entirely new segment of customers. And lastly, there's a strategy change that I'd probably start implementing that I'll gladly share it with the buyer, but essentially makes every series more profitable. And I've tested it and the results were really encouraging. So I definitely roll that out, at least with some of the series, and continue to see how that would take shape. Honestly, there's a lot of room for improvements and opportunities to generate more income with the current authors. Plus, if you're someone really ambitious, you could launch additional pen names and leverage the current author's reputation and big email lists to grow them fast. So you could really build an army of pen names and it would work quite well because there are practically unlimited romance readers. Yeah, those are some of the ways I would try to grow the business if I were keeping it.
Right. And what would you say are the biggest risks with this business that buyers should be aware of?
I think the largest one would be doing something where you're going to get your KDP account terminated or banned. That typically only happens with low content books. And thankfully, this is, I guess they call it high content, but it's just the romance niche, which has a much better standing in Amazon's eyes. So it's very rare that you could get your account terminated with the romance one, but it can happen. For example, if you accidentally created like a second Amazon account, something weird could happen where they see you have two Amazon accounts. And, there's strange things like that that come up, which if you really have done no wrong, you'll get your account back. But those are just something to be aware of. And then, yeah, thankfully, this one, and this is the reason I chose Clean Romance, is you'll be the most compliant even within romance because you're not talking about or publishing any blurbs with like really steamy things and themes and tropes in there, which helps a lot with Facebook ads because the steamy novels often get flagged and accounts get banned on Facebook. So that's one benefit to sticking with clean romance. And then the second biggest risk, I think, would be, and it's completely in your control, but if you stop publishing, I think over time, it would start to eat away at your profits pretty good because these readers, they want something new. And so I think if you keep giving them something new, you'll continue to grow. But if you stop publishing altogether, of course, eventually like your profits would dry up. And I mean, yeah, I think you can publish at different rates. It just depends on how much you want to grow. But I think those would be the two biggest risks for this business.
How much support are you willing to offer the buyer who acquires this business?
So I'm definitely willing to offer that in the first 30 days, kind of almost whatever they need to make sure and ensure that handoff goes over smoothly. I've also already prepared, a whole document with SOPs and things to answer a lot of questions that's ready to go. And I want to see the buyer succeed with it. I've spent a lot of time on these pen names since the past, I guess, coming up on 4 years. So, of course, I want to see this business succeed. And I'm sure they will have questions. And if things come up, 60, 90 days down the road too, I'll absolutely help them out until they're on their feet going. Very interested in them being successful with this business after the sale. I will have an open door and definitely be there to ask questions and support them along the way.
Got it. And regarding the sale of the business, would you agree to a non-compete?
Yes, I can commit to a non-compete. I'm just running other e-commerce stores that don't have anything to do with romance or publishing. So that's absolutely no problem.
Are you open to negotiating something like an earnout agreement?
I'd highly prefer just a clean cash deal. I think the price of this asset doesn't really warrant an earnout payment structure. And to be honest, I would just rather move on and just have a clean deal.
Okay, final question. If you had to put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why is your business a business worth buying?
I think a lot of the opportunities I talked about previously would make me excited. Of course, the flexibility of this business is very appealing. You can work whatever time you want from wherever you want. So just that flexibility is extremely nice. I'd like the fact that I'm getting 260 something existing assets that will start making me money from day one without me really doing anything. Plus, there will be additional series ready to publish when I get it. So I'd be excited about that. Also, I can't explain how much easier this business is to run than my other e-commerce business. I mean, I only spend a few hours per week on it, and it generates a very healthy living. So imagine if someone was to spend a full 40 hours or even 20 hours on it and what they could accomplish and generate revenue-wise. I think it's a very exciting business opportunity, but of course, I'm also very biased because I built the business. And whoever gets it, though, I hope they will continue trying to grow it and make it one of the best known pen names on Amazon.
All right, everyone, thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this business is still for sale, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll find everything you need to know about this business. So, thanks for joining us. See you next time.